Welcome to episode 3 of Tropical Freeze Minimum Bananas. If you want to check out the first 2 parts, I'll leave a link in the description to the Minimum Bananas playlist. Today we're looking at Bright Savannah, and for this world I decided to go about the script writing process a little differently. This time, immediately after finishing a stage, I wrote the script for that specific level. This worked out very well and gave me the opportunity to talk about my thoughts and feelings on these stages separate from the challenge while still going over each of the important parts. Let me know what you think of the new format. Let's get started. Grassland Groove, despite its very simplistic level design, is one of my favorite levels in the series, and it's all because of this gorgeous atmosphere and stunning soundtrack. Thankfully, we get to spend quite a bit of time here too, because there's some pretty tough banana dodges to look at. Everything is fine until the first checkpoint. After pole jumping to this zebra, we have to do some serious bobbing and weaving to dodge these banana bunches. It took a few tries, but after I got it, I was forced into a barrel where... uh-oh. It's the banana type I never expected or wanted to see come into play for this run. The big banana bunches are worth 20 bananas, and unfortunately there's nothing we can do to dodge them here. I tried using a green balloon, but the next barrel won't spawn until you get into the first one. Maybe in multiplayer you could do it by having one player get in the first barrel and having the other player jump for the second one, but multiplayer is outside the scope of this video. That's 20 bananas for us, it looks like. Oh hey, the banana counter's back, and this time it's not super intrusive and blocking the gameplay. The rest of the level is pretty simple for a while after that section, but goddamn is this music incredible. I mean, have you been listening to this? My god, it's infectious. Banger song aside, this part here isn't looking too good. I tried for a good 15 minutes, but I just couldn't get enough momentum to clear this snake head full of bananas. Thankfully though, the green balloon saves us once again. I was able to pull off this awkward landing and finish the level from there with only 20 bananas. That sounds like a lot, but in context, it's actually a really good score for this level. If you want to add some challenge to this masterpiece of a stage, give a banana-less run a shot and just pretend the big banana bunches don't exist. Let's check out Baobab Bonanza. For the first time since level 1, Diddy Kong is back. It's easier to duck under this first row of bananas with him, and you can get Dixie much later in the level anyway. Even if his girlfriend completely outclasses him in almost every case, let's not forget that he's still the same super useful jetpack buddy we had in Returns. He carried me through the first half of the level easily, but I switched him out for Dixie up here so I could reach this ledge. After that is this section where I couldn't quite cross this gap with Dixie. The green balloon comes in clutch once again and gets us to the final checkpoint. After some more simplistic but enjoyable platforming, I reached the final section of the level where I was chased by a giant Baobab fruit that somehow grew larger than all the trees. With some tight roll jumps, we can reach the ending rock no problem, but we just can't get over the last banana. I tried using Cranky and maintaining momentum with his pogo since I would have loved a level where all 4 Kongs came into play, but he didn't even get close. Thankfully, by dropping into the void and using one more green balloon, we can land on the edge of the rock and roll jump into the final barrel with 0 bananas. This is one of the more forgettable levels when I first played this game, but I honestly think it's really good. It's simplistic, yes, but I think it's trying to represent the harsher side of the Savannah environment, which complements the increased difficulty from the last stage. And while I didn't use him in this challenge much, Cranky Kong works super well with this level, and any excuse to use him is a great one. He's much more niche, but when he does get the spotlight, he's easily the most fun Kong to play as. This level being more subdued is also appropriate because the next stage is another one of my favorites in the franchise, Frantic Fields. This level is absolutely breathtaking. Starting in the grassy plains and venturing deeper into the heart of the storm is such a brilliant level concept for this game. The extremely over-the-top scenario is backed by some pretty high difficulty for this point in the game, and that goes triple for our challenge. Many tough roll jumps and edge jumps are required throughout the stage, and you'll definitely need either Dixie or Diddy to help you through. I thought I was going to need a green balloon to skip this platform, but I actually pulled off a sick roll jump with Dixie and bypassed it that way. I'm almost positive they put a Diddy barrel at this spot just because his rolling animation is absolutely perfect for this running into the wind part. Unfortunately after this, there's another damn barrel launch that gives a whopping 20 bananas. Really? Again? How many times is this going to happen? Not even a green balloon helps since the barrel launches you into the background. Oh well, I guess. The thunderstorm chase afterwards is super intense and genuinely pretty tough for a level in the third world. And thankfully for this challenge, there's no bananas to worry about, and so we've reached the final checkpoint. This last section is totally doable, but pretty tough given the bananas that pop out of the grass when you walk through it. Just time your jumps properly and ignore Ramby's plea to be let out of the box and you'll finish the stage with 20 bananas. That's 2 levels in this world now that are among my favorites in the series, were super fun and well balanced for this challenge, but got ruined because of a required barrel launch into the quite rare big banana bunch. Wow. Next up is Scorch and Torch, yet another one of my favorite levels in the series. Man, I do not remember Bright Savannah having this many incredible levels, but this replay has really made me appreciate it more. The atmosphere is jaw-dropping, and the way the whole Savannah is falling apart really sells the terror of the situation. As for the challenge, it's yet another really fun one. Up until the ending, we have another simple case of basic platforming being the only thing necessary. If it weren't for the big bunches, we'd be on a perfect streak of fantastic banana-less design for this world. After we reach the last checkpoint, things really start to heat up. We have to make a pretty big roll jump with Dixie, and then we get to this final rope section. Uh-oh. Another pain in the ass required barrel. This one gives a ton of bananas, but I was really determined to skip it with a green balloon. I tried for almost an hour here and even brought Diddy back in the hopes he'd help me. But no matter how many times I tried, I just couldn't get by with 0 bananas. However, I did get this run after over an hour of tries. Yes! No idea if the buddy move helped or not, but I finally made it to the other side, proving the level possible with at most 1 banana. I tried for another half hour to get by with 0, but I couldn't even make the jump again. I don't want to spend even longer grinding for 0, especially since there's no way to know where the circle is at in its rotation from the other side. That's 1 banana for Scorch and Torch, but maybe someone else will prove it's possible with 0. Twilight Terror is up next, and believe it or not, I managed to beat it banana-less on my first attempt. The start does have a few tricky spots, I guess, but it's nothing I haven't dealt with before in the rocket barrel. Once I got past the first checkpoint, I used 1 crash guard to avoid a circle of bananas and dodge the rest with some careful flying. One of the 2 secret exits is right up here, only about halfway through the stage, allowing for a super easy and quick finish. This level is decent, but pales in comparison to the rest of the world so far. I do like the aesthetic a lot, and the relaxing tone contrasts the last 2 levels quite nicely, and this is also notable for being the only level in the game with multiple secret exits. I don't have much more to say. Let's check out the final normal stage in this world. The name of this level is Cannon Canyon, and if you've been paying attention throughout this series, that name should really scare you. It certainly did me. Surprisingly though, we're totally in the clear until the first checkpoint. There's a couple bananas to dodge, and you have to time your barrel shots effectively, but it's pretty simple all things considered. I have to say, I really love the cinematics in this stage. The way the camera dynamically rotates as the snowmads fire at you is honestly breathtaking. After the first checkpoint, we have to make some tight jumps to reach the next barrel section. This part requires a few more time shots and waiting around, and this barrel here forces... Wait, what? That's the end of the level? That is way too short by this game's standards and lowers my opinion on the level a fair bit, but hey, that's no bananas and a level with cannon in the title. This world has been something else, man. It's boss fight time. Triple Trouble, like most bosses in this series, is a really fun and creative fight dragged down hard by way too much waiting around. And oh god, does that problem bleed into this challenge too. Just like Big Top Bop, bananas don't despawn here, and the arena gets filled with bananas super quickly. I didn't even get close on my first attempt and decided to try using an item I completely wrote off as useless when I started this challenge, the Heart Boost. No idea why this item is even here since it's just a worse version of the banana juice, but it's gonna be helpful for us. This item gives you 1 extra heart, and I'll be abusing this to get better RNG from these baboons. When at low health, the game is much more likely to drop a heart instead of bananas, which will obviously reduce clutter in the arena and help us to beat the boss. It's still pretty tough though. Sometimes you won't get hearts even at low health, and if you lose 3 hearts, you no longer have Dixie to help. On my successful attempt, this heart fell right out of bounds and I was very sad I couldn't get it. That did actually matter too since I lost Dixie shortly after, but thankfully I only had 1 hit left to land and finished off the boss with 0 bananas. That means every main level in this world is possible to beat without bananas if you don't include Scorch and Torch or the rare Big Bunches, which I was not expecting at all going into this. Hopefully the 3 bonus levels continue our streak of good luck. Rickety Rafters is a fun, simple stage that's a bit too short for my liking. I wish the mechanics were explored for just 1 more checkpoint or so, but let's see how we're doing on bananas. Most of the level is totally doable with a lot of tricky roll jumps and enemy bounces, but shortly before the last checkpoint we have 2 barrels to avoid. The first is bypassed with a simple roll jump, but it's really tight with Diddy Kong who we're given at the start of the level. The second gap requires a green balloon, and after that the level is pretty straightforward. It's not necessarily easy since there's a lot of banana bunches jumping out of nowhere and roll jumps to do, but there's nothing we haven't seen before. Yet another stage with 0 bananas. Just 2 more to go now, starting with Ramble Scramble. This is another pretty standard level that I like a lot. The dangerous fauna and platforms popping up all over make the stage feel claustrophobic yet natural, and I think the platform layouts themselves are among the best in the world too. Most of the stage is the straightforward banana dodging goodness I've come to expect from this world, but we're gonna need some green balloons as well. This circle here might be possible to avoid with a careful Dixie float or even Diddy hover, but I just used a green balloon instead and moved on. There are a bunch of barrel sections in this stage, but only the last one has bananas to worry about. By damaging myself with the first shot, I was able to squeeze by the circle of bananas in the second with my invincibility frames and finish off the stage. This is required too, since if you try and hit yourself on the enemies in the circle, you'll freeze in place for too long and grab a banana. There's actually one more obstacle to talk about in this level, and it's this one right here. I tried for almost 30 minutes, but I just couldn't make this part work. Green balloons didn't help since we can't fall off, and we don't get nearly enough distance to clear the gap without grabbing at least 1 banana. That makes this the 4th impossible level in this world, but at least that only gave us 1 banana instead of 20. The final level in this world is Precarious Pendulums, and sadly, unlike the last two videos, I won't be able to show you a full zero banana run of the K stage. The start of the level is tricky but manageable if you use roll jumps with Dixie effectively, but once we reach this barrel section, we're pretty much screwed. I tried to skip it with a green balloon, but you can't land on these spiky platforms at all and don't get nearly enough distance. However, I was able to optimize this section a bit. With two really awkward and finicky shots, I was able to make it through the section with only 10 bananas, but the level is far from over. After a long stretch of no bananas, followed by a long stretch of tricky dodging, I reached another barrel section. I was pretty confident you could do this banana list with a well-timed shot, and after over a half hour of attempts, I proved my theory correct. After that, there was just one more section left, and it's pretty interesting too. I had to make some pretty small jumps on these pendulums to avoid the banana bunches, and after that I needed a green balloon. You're supposed to get flung by this pendulum to the ending, but there's obviously way too many bananas up there. It's a tight jump, but after that, the world is over, and we collected a grand total of 52 bananas. That makes 5 out of 10 levels possible with 0, and adding up the 134 from the rest of the game gives us 185 bananas at the halfway point of our adventure. I'm a lot more confident in keeping the number below 500 now, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you thought of the script this time. This is my new favorite video I've made so far, so I really hope the insane amount of effort I put in shows. Seabreeze Cove is up next, of course, but I may take a small break from this game and try out a challenge in a different series first. I haven't decided yet, but I hope to see you there regardless. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you think my channel deserves more attention, and I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day.